Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I'm going to be telling you another madness story, another dream story, a little bit calmer than before. Hopefully I'll be able to keep my composure and my voice together. This clip that you're watching right now is going to be on Black Ops In-Depth Mythbusters, and basically it proves to everyone that yes, you can kill aircraft with tomahawks. It's just difficult. We shoot this one with a light machine gun until it's weak, and then pound it with the tomahawk until it dies, and it was pretty straightforward. But I'll be doing this kind of myth busting very fast, just like the in-depth one. But this is a madness video, and this is a dream video when I tell a story more complete than usual, and it is a very, very epic dream story, very long, detailed, complicated. I don't know how else to tell it except for the first person, because as I sleep this happens to me from the first person, so this is all recall from memory. Just a quick starter here. A lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about lucid dreaming. I used to lucid dream as I was a child and before, where I could control the entire dream world, but as I got older things became more complicated, and Mr. Shadow showed up. Interesting fellow, sort of. I hate him. Trying to keep this commentary going. This commentary, unlike a lot of the other ones, is going to be edited. I don't normally edit my voice or make trims in the audio, but I'm going to have to here because the story is so long. I'm going to screw up really bad if I don't. It's just very difficult to talk for upwards of 30 minutes and not make any mistakes. But back to the little bit of backstory. The shadow that I talk about, or the Mr. Shadow, it doesn't have a particular name, is the Jungian shadow, or it's spelled Jungian if you want to do any creative Googling. The basically the bad guy, the evil architect, an archetype, the collective unconscious of all human beings that Carl Gustav Jung, the famous psychologist, used to write about. It's not something I even knew about until I had this problem, but my descriptions fit it so perfectly. That's what I believe that it was. And yes, I did go through therapy with a therapist and several other people. No, I'm not on medications. I don't do drugs. I don't do other things. I solve my problems internally if possible. But it was a very bad problem. It was extreme. But it's done with now, and the only thing I have left are a lot of bad memories and difficult ones to deal with that are ultimately entertaining stories, and I do like to entertain. Even though it does hurt me to recall all these things, it's very nice to be able to entertain other people. A lot of the dreams I had, a lot of the shorter ones, weren't this structured. A lot of times I would be having a normal dream, and I would realize that I was dreaming. I would realize that I am in a dream, and I would try to wake up. It's like, I don't like this. This reality doesn't feel right, and I'm going to try and wake up. And I would sit there and I'd think to myself, and I'd think harder and harder, and I'd want to wake up, wake up, wake up. And then I would wake up, but I wouldn't be in my bed. I would be strapped to a wall in an experimentation room with a gag in my mouth trying to scream, but all I can say is, and then some people rush into the room, and you hear the voice of Mr. Shadow on the intercom saying, "Quickly, he's waking up! Hit him with the gas, quickly!" And a bunch of gas pumps into the room, and it burns my skin when it touches me, and I can't hold my breath forever, and I breathe a little bit in and then start choking, and it starts burning my lungs, but it's making me delirious, and that's the last thing I remember. And then I wake back up in the dream that I was in previously, and I can't wake back up because I've been gassed, and it's crazy. It's like an Inception sort of thing where you have so many different layers. And speaking of Inception, this happened a long time before that movie came out. When I went to see Inception, I didn't actually know that it was about dreams or any of this sort of stuff. So that movie gave me problems. I watch a lot of scary movies, a lot of violent stuff, no problems. Not a scaredy guy. But I believe it gave me a little bit of what I would say post-traumatic stress or flashbacks or something like that. My mom had that problem. She had a very rough childhood, so when she would see bad things on TV or guns, it would scare her a lot. And when I was watching Inception, it really bothered me in a way that no other movie has honestly ever bothered me, because it mirrored my problems so similarly. It really struck a chord, and I couldn't help myself but to think about all the bad things that had happened before, and I'm just guessing that's a lot like what post-traumatic stress was about, or is like. I might be mistaken. Maybe I'm exaggerating here. But to the point, this is part one of a very, very long story. I'm going to try and tell it in the most comprehensible, straightforward, and entertaining manner that I can. I'm not going to lie to you, this isn't all entirely 100% true, because all dreams are by their nature somewhat abstract, and over time you do forget bits and pieces of them. But I will say that what I'm about to say is 95% true, and 5% are small details or little gaps that need to be filled in where my memory begins to fail me. but as far as a story goes, it more or less stands on its own. And I don't know how many parts this is going to be. I do worry about this. That a lot of people may think this is a boring commentary because it starts off so slowly, and I have so much preface to go through and so much to explain. But for those of you that stick with me, I promise you that it will be quite rewarding. And now to the story. This story opens up in a world not so much unlike my own, very similar to my own, set in my own little hometown, except a little bit alternate. My girlfriend is different. She's not the girlfriend that I have now. I have a regular white girlfriend. I didn't go to college. I work a regular small-time job just behind a desk, was it? It was some sort of office work. It wasn't particularly difficult or important. And life was good. I didn't work hard. I still lived at home with my parents, but I got along with them pretty well. Or my father specifically. My parents are divorced in real life and in this. And in this dream, my grandfather is dead. In reality, he wasn't dead yet, but he was on his way. And I help my grandmother a lot because she's alone and by herself and she needs help, and everything's going, about okay. I would say my age is 21, 22, young, confident, happy, out and about and on the town. Nothing in particular going wrong. So on one particular day, my grandmother is ill, and she just asked me to go to the grocery store down the street to pick up a few groceries for her. Just some bread, Sprite, soda, sick people stuff. And hop in my truck, drive down. The grocery store is a Save-A-Lot food store, less than a block away, near a park, in a small shopping center that once used to be good, pristine, right across from the mall and best in the town. But now, with age, the business has moved elsewhere. The average quality of business in the shopping center has declined, and so has the average customer. And the market, the value food store there is driving in new, poorer customers, and unfortunately and demographically, that means that you have more trashier, dangerous kind of customers. So nothing's wrong. Roll up into the store, pick out my groceries, just doing everything like a boss, flipping, pick something up off the shelf, flip it right in the cart, push the cart, kick the cart stops right by the next grocery, tap it off the shelf, it tumbles in, lands right side up, and I'm getting the fuck out of there like a champion. I don't know how many of you guys grocery shop like this, but I do this all the time in real life, just lots of cool grocery shopping. No, got all my groceries. I'm going to checkout. Go to the checkout, and there's a pretty girl at the checkout stand, a teenager, a little bit young for me. This is in the danger zone here, morally and legally. This is the 16, 17, 18, 19. I can't tell how old this girl is because there's so much fucking bovine growth hormone in our food. But damn, she's really pretty, and I'm gonna try to put on a smile just in case, because you never know. It doesn't matter if I have a girlfriend. She's not here watching me, so I'm sitting here and I'm talking to this girl, and she's like, "Oh, hi, sir. Nice day." Blah blah blah, being nice, that's her job, and a lot of people mistake being nice at a cashier or a restaurant as being indicative of the person. But I'm putting on my charm. I'm sure she saw me shopping for groceries like a champ, swiping my card, just doop 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 doop. I already know the password, everything's good to go, paying for it, smiling at me. The girl seems to like me, and yeah, I'm impressed, or I think I impressed her anyway. It doesn't really matter. It just goes to show you how good I'm doing in the very beginning of this dream. And everything's cool. Just pick up my groceries in the bag. No need for a cart. I've got strong arms. I can carry all 3 of these groceries in this milk carton all the way outside by my big manly self. But I'm a skinny guy in reality, about 6'2". I'd say skinny fat, skinny, not a lot of muscle, a little bit out of shape, but still fairly skinny. Carrying this out, about halfway back to my truck, I walk past 3 black gentlemen dressed very poorly. The shortest one happens to be the leader of the group, I would say. And as soon as I walk by them, they hop up, and I hear the footsteps behind me, and I hear somebody's like, "Hey, you." And I turn around, I see the 3 black guys. I know I'm in trouble. I don't know why they're black. Maybe I'm racist in my dream. I grew up in the Mississippi Delta. It was all black people. I was taught since I was a little kid that they're all horrible and they'll stab you and steal all your stuff, and I don't know. I guess no matter how far away you move or how much you change your mind, the things you're taught when you're a child still stick with you. And even show up in dreams at that. So there's 3 black guys. I turn around, this, like, "Hey, you." And I'm like, what do you want? It's like, "Give me your groceries and your money." I'm like, "No." Here, I can't tell stories. I'm like, they're like, I sound like a fucking teenager. The details of the conversation escape me somewhat. I'm trying to remember them here on the fly. I didn't really write this down or prepare a script. the leader of the group tells me again, it's like, no, you motherfucker, I want your groceries and your money, and I want them right now. I'm like, you can't have them. And he's like, look, man, you don't have to make this hard. It's like, blah, blah, blah. We got laid off. None of us have jobs. Our family's got to eat. I need that food for myself, and I need that money for my bills, and you're going to give it to me. I'm going to fuck you up. And I told you, you can come get it, you dirty motherfucker. And with that, they two on the side started to break off and swing around on the left and the right, making a flank. They wanted to attack me from a lot of different angles at once, and I was not in a position to move because they were all at front. They could all push me at front, but I'm so cocky today, so arrogant, feeling so good and full of myself. I think I can take all three of them, or at least get out of here with my groceries and my wallet, because I do happen to like my cash. I can cancel that debit card, but I like my cash. So now I've got three of them around me in what is roughly a triangular formation. The other guy's like, man, you better give me that money, blah blah. You better not fuck with him. We just do this. Just come on, this ain't easy. I tell you, if you're so poor, why don't you get a fucking job and earn your own food? You don't have to take mine. And still talking shit. And he's yelling back and forth. Apparently, he really wants me to do this the easy way, but I'm too hard-headed. I'm just saying, fuck you to this guy. But I do have a plan. I'm not entirely stupid or ignorant. As tense as I am, it's a trap. It's not a trap for me, it's a trap for them. The only thing I can think to say is, okay, here's the groceries, and I pick my arms up forward to hand the man my groceries, and when he reaches for them, I take a quick step back, slam my arms backward as fast as I can, swinging the bags down like an old woman. If you get the picture of this, I'm swinging them back and to the left and the right so that I swing both bags up and hit both of his other friends in their faces quite unexpectedly. As soon as they've been hit, I drop the bags. He's already charging me, and I bring both arms around. Not both, I take that back. I remember I swing with the right and try and swing like with the left with a retard. The right arm hits first because I'm not that coordinated. It doesn't hit very hard, and then the left arm hits and doesn't do much of anything. The guy isn't hurt particularly bad. He pushes, doesn't even, just stumbles backward, and then I go forward to hit him again, but then one of his friends from behind me grabbed me by my shirt, and I remember being pulled backward and slammed against a car. I don't know if I dented it or anything. Those cars that are made of that crappy metal probably did get dented. You can imagine my body hitting the car and denting it for dramatic effect if it pleases you. And it's kind of silly, even though it's one of the lesser important events. I do remember the fight scenes particularly well. Fight scenes, you remember the fights you've had in your life, and I remember this one. So there I am back against the car, two guys essentially on my right, one on the left, and they're both coming in. I push myself off the car, try and punch the guy on the left to get away, and then I get smacked in the back of the head, lose my balance. I'm stumbling. Next guy trips me. And it all begins to get a little bit blurry after this point. I don't entirely know what I remember. Tripping and falling and trying to get back up, getting tripped again, punched several times. I'm just trying to get back up to fight or get away. There's no, probably more get away. I've got most of the fight kicked out of me, and I made a very poor decision to try to fight three larger men at once. Or except I take the leader guy was a little bit smaller than myself. He wasn't a big guy. And I got my ass kicked. I got my ass kicked pretty bad, pretty brutally, stomped, beaten, broken teeth, cuts. It's all a blur now. I just remember the impacts hitting so incredibly hard, the jar in your face. I don't know how many of you have been punched, but initially the initial thwack doesn't hurt so much as your whole entire world gets rocked, and then the pain comes just a second later as an afterburst, and it's really awful sometimes. And I'm talking about fighting too much. Get to the point. The only thing I remember is one of them holding me up against a different car, and I'm probably bleeding everywhere. My teeth don't feel right. I can't stand under my own weight, and the leader starts coming up. I can barely tell what he's trying to tell me. He's trying to tell me something about broken nose or something. I hit him somehow and deformed him. I can't even remember because my brain is so fucked up. So he said he offered to do it the easy way. I wanted it the hard way, and I can have it. And I remember hearing a little click, just a little like that, and I'm like, what? And I look, and a switchblade knife is in his right hand. He comes and he swings and he stabs me right in the left side of my chest, right below the heart. I don't know. I knew at the time he was going for the kill. That's if you want to kill somebody instead of stabbing them directly in the chest, you want to stab left and below the arm and up, so it'll go inside and hit the heart. Maybe if you're lucky, it'll hit the apex and they'll completely bleed out. Get stabbed. and he pulled it out, and I think he might have stabbed me once or twice. Again, I honestly can't remember. I was passing out at this point. And that is the end of this segment of the dream. At this point, I can only assume that I am unconscious on the ground and that somebody somewhere was watching this parking lot and called the police. But little did I know, not only was it somebody somewhere watching calling the police, there was another set of eyes, another more important set of eyes watching, observing, calculating, wondering why, and planning many things on my behalf without my knowledge. But I was entirely unconscious at the time. I was laying face down on the ground. So it was wrong place, wrong time. At this point in time, I could really use a little bit of breather time to clear my throat, and I'll let you listen to a song that I found on DanoSongs.com that kind of explains how it felt to be there at the wrong place and at the wrong time.
Lifted by my wings, crouched on the sill, doing acrobatics, moving from the matter in the air. You wouldn't believe what I saw. A lady in a turban looking at her future telling devices, and she said, "Man, you shouldn't be here. The time isn't right for you. You should have known before coming around. Man, you shouldn't be here. The time isn't right for you. You should have known before coming around." That was on my way to an alpha state. I could see the levels rising, climbing up the ladder to the spheres. You wouldn't believe what I saw. A devil in a magic robe telling me a supernatural prediction, and he said, "Man, you shouldn't be here. The time isn't right for you. You should have known before coming around. Man, you shouldn't be here. The time isn't right for you. You should have known before coming around. I don't wanna see your face around here. The time isn't right for you. I don't wanna see your face around here. The time isn't right for you." I said the time isn't right.
Alright, now we're moving on to the second part of this dream. I don't know if I'm putting it all in one video or what, but this part moves a little bit faster. It probably covers the second largest chunk of time, but there's the least important memories here, or the least things that I can remember. The brain damage didn't help very much. Yes, somehow my dreams are to the point to where I do get brain damaged, and I speak about this fighting very graphically. That's because when I dream, I really feel the pain that I describe, the beating, the cutting, the stabbing. I feel that. It's not imaginary to me. I feel it just as if it really happened, and it really, really hurt very bad. The next thing I can seem to vaguely remember is being in a hospital bed. I don't know how many of you have had surgery, but when you wake up in a hospital and you don't remember how you got there, it's a very frightening thing. It's even more frightening when you don't have the strength to move either out of the beating or out of the drugs or whatever they gave me. I remember there being some form of gauze over my face. There was a catheter in. Oh my God, that thing hurt so bad. It felt like I had to pee forever, and there was this weird thing in my Johnson, and it just wasn't right. And I remember trying to move my hand to pull this shit out of me, and I couldn't. And then a nurse is like, "Oh no, you don't, blah 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 blah," probably trying to tell me not to pull the IVs out of my arm, but at this point I'm panicking. I don't know what's going on, and then I just pass out again. Maybe they gave me another shot. The recovery in the hospital is long and it's painful, and I've cracked teeth. I need teeth replacements. There's a broken face bone that, well, it wasn't entirely broken. A fracture is more accurate, but it healed fairly well. They missed me stabbing the heart. That's the important thing. I didn't even feel that one by the time I woke up. They missed everything important. I should have been dead 1,000 times over. I should have bled to death on the payment, but it was one of those 1 out of 1,000 times that I didn't die, that I didn't bleed to death, that wasn't my fate, my dream fate in this case. I stayed in the hospital several weeks, recovered well, left, but when I left I wasn't the same person as when I went in. It was different. The whole world appeared different to me. Confrontation was a very different thing. I went from being extremely self-confident to perhaps maybe even a cocky degree. I didn't felt cocky, I just felt cool at the time, to being more timid, more what word am I looking for? Avoiding people, in the bus. Don't brush that guy's shoulder. Don't let this guy touch you. Maybe they're following me. Somebody disagrees with you in a way that affects you. I decide not to argue with them just in case things escalate, because I don't know for certain, and I'm really afraid of getting hurt again. It's really shy, somewhat more timid individual, but it's manifesting itself worse in different ways. People that I do know and that I do understand and trust, I want to build an image of myself of being stronger and tougher than I need to be. So at home with my family, I'm very aggressive, very controlling to the best of my abilities, pushing to a confrontation, but then I can't handle the confrontation. I don't know if this makes any sense. I have to try to control the person and their actions and what they want and be the boss of everything, but when somebody stands up to me, when somebody shouts at me, I crack. I start to cry and shrivel like a little girl, and I can't handle it. It's driving them crazy to deal with somebody like me that's so damn controlling and aggressive, but doesn't have anything to back it up. It's, I guess, maybe small dog syndrome, but that's how it was, and it lasted for weeks, months. Relationship with the girlfriend went to shit. It was so bad that I was putting on my fake front, threatening like I was gonna rough her up if she didn't tell me what I was gonna do, and I got slapped and then started to cry like a little girl and couldn't control myself and screaming at me something about pussy this and need to get your life together. And she was ultimately right. It was the final straw that reminded me that I did have to get my life together, that this was wrong, this was a psychological flaw, an error in my brain, something. So what's the next logical step? Is to go see a psychiatrist, a therapist of some kind. Probably basing this on the previous therapy. Actually, I might have been in therapy. No, I just finished my so-called therapy when this dream happened, so this was more of a relapse. A relapse, it's not a damn drug habit. I need to take a little breather. The next step is a little bit more boring. Again, therapy was straightforward, talking about how I feel about things, how I actually am. I'm not weak, I am strong, I'm in control, I believe this, I shouldn't push my beliefs onto others. They won't respect that, they won't feel that, that won't be them. That isn't the way things are supposed to be. And so it continues. Therapy works to a point. Therapist says we can only do so much. You need to get out and meet with other people. Gives me the number to a local family crisis center. If people here don't know what a family crisis center is, my mother used to volunteer for one. It's essentially a shelter for battered women, abused children, divorced couples that can't cohabitate due to legal reasons, rape victims, a little bit of physical disability people that have a hard time doing things that need some help, but it's really more for women and broken families and children, and it's really unusual for anybody to give that kind of number to a man. And talk to what's this? Okay, well, there's a therapy session here. Well, not a therapy, it's a group therapy session, kind of for people that have confidence issues, for people that have a great deal of fear in their lives if they can't. It's basically what I had. Let's just say that. So, Next day or so, I'm going to these group therapy sessions. This little segment of my dream may well have been based off the movie Fight Club because it had the same kind of feel, or it may have been based off my mother's visits to Alcoholics Anonymous, which I had to go to as a child. It was a relatively small room, those little metal chairs. Some of them were nice and had the cushions that you sat on, the fold-out chairs. Some of them were just metal. If you got there early, you got to choose the good one. If you got late, you might have got a metal one. They had coffee, cheap cookies, cheap donuts, sweets, little things like that to keep people interested, well-fed. People like myself that have to have something in their hands, something for them to fiddle with, to feel at home. And people introduce yourselves. Hi, my name is Bob, and everybody's like, "Hi, Bob." It goes like that. Those went pretty well. They were going pretty well. They were helping. I got to hear lots of similar stories of people that couldn't deal with confrontations for various reasons. A lot of them was child abuse, spousal abuse. Some people seem to have some sort of innate genetic disorder to where they could not handle any sort of confrontation. It would just crack them. I was doing better off than some of them, but I still had my own problems. I was getting better. I made a friend there. I'm just going to call this friend John for the rest of this story because he's going to be around for a while. John's a fairly important fellow. His problem was similar to those, but not the same. He didn't have the abuse problem. He had an overbearing problem. He had an overbearing family at home that demanded that he did this all the time since childhood. I don't know how many of you may be like this or have friends like this. The family controls every aspect of their life, every decision, everything from infancy, and even when they get to be adults and they need to make their own decisions, it's so difficult not to do anything else, and the criticism from a family member is so hard. And on top of that, poor John, he had a controlling girlfriend. I don't know how he finds these people. Maybe he's just so used to living with them. That's who he chose for his mate. His girlfriend was no better than his mother or grandmother or his bastard sister or anything else. Controlling. And he always agree, I'll do, okay. A lot of anger pent up in this man, a lot of frustrations, and he was imploding. He was unable to deal with anything for fear of hurting everybody, which it may be a different aspect of myself. I have a similar situation. I do not get angry normally. I do not hurt people. I do not lash out. It builds and builds and builds and burns, and I just deal with it, or I'll punch a tree until my hands bleed or something like that. But that was John, and he had problems. He was a good guy, similar in build to myself, a little stockier, smidge shorter, not much. We're talking inches here. Blonde, liked boots for some reason. I remember that. Just not like work boots, just like trendy boots. I don't really know why, where that memory comes from, but he was a good guy. We hit it off pretty good. It's good to have some small semblance of a friend in a group like that. And there was another person in this group that was not quite like the rest of them. This person stood out. They weren't the same. In a group like that, you hear a lot of the same stories, a lot of the similar stories. But this guy, he didn't belong. There was something different about him, something different about the way he dressed, the way he spoke, the way he carried himself. Not only was it that he obviously didn't have problems with confidence, he was very confident about how he carried himself into the room, about how he procured his small snacks, how he talked to others. It was abnormal, and his stories were very flat. They were very fake. They didn't feel genuine, just like some of his actions were ingenuine for faking a lack of confidence. It was just not working for me. John noticed too. We didn't understand why this guy was here. Everything he said was, of course, yes, this, and yes, I have problems with this, and yes, this person scares me, but I didn't believe it. I don't honestly know if our counselor or the group leader believed it or not, too, but it wasn't a place where you shun people. So we have a mysterious figure amongst us.